Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Season 4 of the Expanse Hype Stream. Joining me is the usual crew. You should know who they are by now. You've been here week after week. And so we've got on my left here, John. Right below me is Courtney. And down and to the left, that's Nessie. You know who they are. Guys, you want to introduce yourselves real quick? John, go ahead.
Hi, I'm John. Lucky enough to have been invited multiple times on this show. I'm super psyched to be here, and having caught up on all of the Expanse, I am ready to get hype.
Right on, right on. And Courtney?
Hi, everyone. I'm Courtney. You probably know me by now, so.
They should. You've been on here several times. And if you don't know Courtney,
there isn't much of an intro for me.
And if you don't know Courtney, I did a whole 2-hour conversation with her on my I Know That Nerd. And
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. So if you want to know more about Courtney, there's already a 2-hour conversation to be had. And then my co-captain, my first officer, Nessie, aka Questing Beast. How you doing?
Hey guys, doing great, getting hyped for season 4. I'm so excited, I can't hardly stand myself. We watched the trailer multiple times over the last couple of days, and this season looks like it's just going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, so are we ready to jump in then? I mean, I'm free right now.
I'm free right now.
That was classic. That was so good.
That's like the one thing from all the trailers that, I mean, everybody should know by now. I'm a huge Amos fan.
Murder Snuggles.
Murder Snuggles is my guy. And yeah, that particular line is just so perfectly him. Anyway, so we've had a few trailers. We've had a few really interesting appearances at conventions and things. And Courtney, I'm actually going to have you kick this off a little bit because you were in the room with Azora Hype and Ashea from History of Westeros, and you interviewed Stephen Strait and Wes Chatham. What was that like?
Well, I did the research with them, and I was there for all the panels, but I wasn't actually allowed in the room when they were interviewing them. But yeah, I was there for the whole thing, like, saw them to the door, met them at the door, and got to meet them, and they are absolutely lovely and so much cuter even in person than they are on the show. Like, I am really, like, Holden's okay, but Steven is kind of amazing. Like, he's brilliant, and he's funny, and he's charming, and he's so well-spoken and intellectual, and he's passionate about causes, and he loves the impact that the show is having, the way that it addresses political issues in our current time by talking about them through the way they might play out in the future in sci-fi novels. And they've both read all the books, and they were so excited to have Amazon pick them up that I got really, really hyped myself.
Right.
Well, that story itself is just completely amazing.
It really is.
Oh, well, we had fun.
Well, the whole Save the Expanse thing that happened last year was just incredible.
And they're so grateful to the fans for it. Like, they feel like, first of all, they kept the entire family, and that's how they referred to it, of the entire crew and everything. And they named the crew first.
Right.
And, obviously all of the main characters and all of the actors and actresses that are so incredible that we already love, and the fans. And they really feel that connection and gratitude to the fans. It doesn't hurt that Elon Musk was a fan. So.
Jeff Bezos.
And Jeff
Bezos, I'm sorry. Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Also, we are going to take a moment to acknowledge the kitty that ran across the background.
Hey,
I mean,
what's the live stream with that?
Exactly.
It's allegedly good luck to have a cat in the room. So
I'm sure one of mine will like crawl up on my keyboard any minute. They like to do that.
She's been with us for every stream, but you guys just haven't seen her. She's normally just right here in my lap or beside me. So,
well, a cat, you'll always have to like a stream once the cat comes on screen. So, that being said, everybody, go ahead and like the stream. We're there. We made it. We did it.
Absolutely.
We did it together.
Also, I want to tell Jess that I've got her back. She can totally live vicariously through me. There are good books on my shelf.
Right.
Oh, I have shelf envy.
Yeah, you do have a pretty nice setup back there, Courtney.
I love books. I'm a nerd. What can I say?
So, John, I want to get to you because, like, as the newest, quote unquote, newest fan here, you powered through the seasons just to do the previous live streams. And then I'm sure you've gone back and seen all kinds of stuff at this point, promotional materials and fan-made videos and what have you. What's standing out to you for season 4 to come?
Well, first of all, I mean, I don't think you cannot mention the Amazon budget. Just looking at it, I wish I had been like anticipating, you know, the show. Like, I mean, not anticipating, but like caught up in the won't it be saved? Because I can only imagine the gratification for people who have been watching.
John, we're losing your audio. Maybe you just need to turn up your gain or move your mic closer. I'm not sure.
That's weird. Hold on.
Well, while he does that, since John mentioned the Amazon budget, that was something that Stephen and Wes, and there were a bunch of other characters on the panel discussions at DragonCon, that they were joking that this is going to be the first series in space to be like shot on location because they basically have that budget. I mean, you know, they're not really shooting
to get there,
but the budget is going to make such a difference. Not just the budget, but the way that things will be able to be timed without commercial breaks, and the way that episodes will be able to vary in length depending on what they feel like they need to cover.
I'm a huge fan of that in general.
Absolutely.
With streaming services, you know, like we've seen that with The Mandalorian. It's not as long as some, but like some are 40 minutes, some are 25 minutes. And a streaming service really lets you tell that neat packaged story.
Yes. And the CGI, I mean, the budget is going to be incredible. First of all, we know that the universe is just going to expand. We're going to see new planets and new creatures and so many amazing, exciting things. And I can't wait. I mean, you know, they're the kind of things that 10 years ago even could not be translated into a visual medium the way that Amazon is going to be able to pull this off. Right. So, I mean, they're amazing in my imagination, but I cannot wait to see the way Amazon puts them on the screen.
Right. Not having the time constraints is going to be great because, like you say, they constructed the story the way that they want to. It can flow the way that they want to. The episodes could be longer, just depending on where they are in the plot. So shorter. And I need to tell the story.
And they're already doing such a great job of translating the books to the screen, but this is just one more way that that's going to be seamless.
Right.
And all the main characters have read the books, so they know. And we're not going to do any book spoilers for anybody out.
We're going to say book spoilers to the end.
Right. We're going to do a little spoiler section at the end.
All right. Can we hear you, John?
Is this any better?
Maybe a little bit.
That's so weird.
Yeah, well, I think it'll work.
I can hear you.
I hear you.
I hear you. I don't know.
But
Chat, can you hear John?
Can you hear John?
Check. Can you guys hear me?
Mic check 1, 2.
Sorry, that's what I do all day.
Yeah, no, there you go. There you go. Actually, that's better. So you're looking forward to the big budget, big splashy, flashy stuff?
Well, I mean, that's not all I'm looking forward to, but it really stood out. I can only imagine being a longtime watcher of the show and being sort of on the edge of your seat as to whether further seasons will be,
We thought we lost it.
greenlit.
It's better than ever.
Yeah, and now not only is it coming back, but it's coming back with all this Amazon power behind it.
Right. It's like failing the 6th grade and then going into the next year of 6th grade with all honors classes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
That's a very specific reference to my own life. I failed the 6th grade, and the next year they put me in all honors classes, and I was like an A student.
There you go.
But
True story.
You were just bored.
I was bored to death in regular classes. Anyway, going on. So John, is there maybe like a certain character arc you're really interested in seeing going forward, season 4?
let me take a second to think of this so I don't just jump to the obvious for me.
Well, I was setting you up to spike the ball on your fedora friend.
Yeah, no, I'm really psyched to see where obviously finding out more of what's going on with Miller and where that leads, because I thought I had a very I thought I knew where sort of not only his whole thing was going, but where the entire story was going. And we'll probably talk more about this, but this last trailer kind of really threw me for a loop as far as what I was expecting the next season to be. So I mean, it's cliche for me, but yeah, I'm just really interested to see, how things unfold with him. But what's great is I'm so invested with all the characters now. I mean, if you had asked me back when we covered season 1, if I would be like as interested to see, where Amos goes next, I would have said, no, I don't think so. But now I can't wait. He's
right.
He's so fantastic. And that moment in the trailer, that closes out, what's great about that moment is in all this stuff that looks sort of new, and it's like taking the Expanse in these new directions from the budget and the story and everything. That's the moment that is the most classic Expanse for me right there. And that's what I love so much about it.
Right on.
They saved all of the sets. So, when they were thinking that they were canceled and everything, that was a big deal, because losing your sets, losing all those things, that's generally death for a series. No matter who wants to resurrect it, its chances of getting resurrected are that much slimmer. So the fact that they were able to save all that, we got the Rosie, for God's sakes. We could have lost her.
Yeah, it would have felt completely different, but instead it's going to feel seamless.
Exactly. Oh, and she got a new paint job. So, yeah.
Yeah, she looks good. Yeah, that red and black looks really, really nice, actually.
And landing gear, which wasn't on her originally, that she's been retrofitted with some landing gear.
And a rail gun, I assume?
And a rail gun, yeah. She's got a little facelift there. So,
for those of you, do you guys know what a rail gun is? I assume. I guess it's part of pop culture enough that you ought to know what a rail gun is.
It's the big boom.
Well, it is, but like it doesn't. It uses magnets basically to sling a thing at like 50,000 miles an hour. 20 times the speed of a normal bullet.
And they discussed how, this is how devoted they are. Obviously, they take science and go beyond it into fantasy. But this is how devoted they were, that they actually discussed with a physicist how the railgun could work on the Rocinante. And they employed some like technology that is still in production phases, where they blast out ion charged particles to extend the length of the railgun so that it can get a better range in space. I mean, these are the type of things that they actually put thought into, that they'll never discuss on the screen, but these are things that they are actually actively thinking about, trying to maintain you know, like they basically said that the more you believe in the everyday science, the more easily you will believe when they take it to the next level. And so they want it to be credible when they do these amazing things. These are actually things that are being discussed in physics labs right now. These are actually prototypes that are out there right now. And, you know, I mean, it's just everything about it, from the politics to the religion to the science, they really focus so much in grounding it in reality that it makes it easy for someone to suspend their disbelief when they take it a step farther. And, you know, I mean, I'm a little nerdy, so sometimes I'm sitting there when I'm watching sci-fi movies and thinking, that's not actually possible. Or how is, you know, they're not even in gravity. How are they pouring that drink and there's no Coriolis? But they're actually putting thought into these things. Like where on the spaceship you are affects the Coriolis when you're pouring a liquid, and they vary it depending on where in the spaceship they're supposed to be. If there's spin gravity, or, you know, if they're at 3G thrust or whatever it is. Like, it blows my mind that they actually put that much thought into it, but it makes it just so much more credible when they do something crazy and unbelievable, like introduce an alien civilization, you know?
And this is why Courtney is our science officer.
That's right.
I'm just a nerd. That's all.
Yeah. They also get a rover, so they're taking a rover with them.
Well, I'm not sure.
Is it theirs, or are they just making use of it? Do you think?
Right, because we're full spoilers on all the promotional materials and all the
trailers
that have been done up to this point. So I do want to say that, like, a brief summary of the story, as I can understand it, is that some Belters went out to Illis.
Refugees.
Basically, like, right, refugees, and they were the first ones there, and then the UNN sent a ship to negotiate, to oversee. I'm not sure.
They want to claim it.
I'm sure they do, but like,
they want to regulate.
Something bad happened. I am assuming it has something to do with a flying swarm of shark teeth. It's the best I can tell. So that ship crash lands. So Rosie goes to figure out what's happening, and they're forced to work with both sides, which is a very Expanse thing to do, because, you know, despite the whole "we're going to end up bloody, I'm free right now" thing, they're fighting side by side at one point, shoulder to shoulder. So it's going to be a really there's a lot to unpack with it.
When Belters go out there and they, you know, the ring gates open up and they find a planet that's similar to Earth and they want to colonize it. And Basia, Katoa's dad, is one of them.
Yep. Book talk goes at the end.
Okay.
Basia, because he's probably not appearing in this film, you know.
I hope he does. He did in the last season.
It would be cool. We do know that Prax is not in this season. Wes Chatham said that actor is not in season 4, but like, he is at least mentioned and thought of. So I'm hopeful Prax can come back, because Prax was such a great character too. A man pushed to the edge for his daughter. It's kind of relatable, you know.
Yeah, and Drummer's back.
Or a woman pushed to the edge by her daughter.
Drummer's back, and she's upright and walking. Which the last time we saw her, she was in the little mech suit and had the spinal injury. So we see her up and walking around. So that's good to see.
That is good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like she's had some time to get some actual, like, medical attention, not just like cyborg legs, you know, like a loading.
From that back,
they told her
you can see like an implant around her spine. There's like how the anti-cancer implants they gave.
They're like subdermal raised.
Right. There's an implant you can see, on her back. So the medical science is taking up some slack too.
Sorry, this is just funny. I have to throw that up to your faces for a second, but that's just really funny. And it's Pedar, who is a.
He cracks me up.
Yeah, you're here for the Expanse stuff, and I love it because you actually know the show and probably the books really, really
well. He knows the books well. I can tell because he's always chiding me about. He just said like, "Be careful, don't cut your lip fighting it." He knows.
But it's always and there's a lot of great people in the chat. I've said hi to many of them, but hello everybody. I do want to acknowledge that on this Thanksgiving week here in America, I'm thankful for each and every one of you. You guys make this worth doing. Otherwise, this is just me screaming into the void. So it's nice to be screaming at someone.
Nice to have a place.
There's no one we'd rather hear screaming.
Right. So. Well, I appreciate that.
Hey, Wheezy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I heard Mom laugh at the delayed timing of the joke in the next room over. So, all right, let's focus back on season 4 of The Expanse. Naomi cut her hair, and I don't like it.
I love it.
Yeah, but it's symbolic.
It's her hair, man. You know, well, she went full belter.
Yeah, and then she went full the other direction.
And now she's kind of neutral.
You know, look, she can wear her hair however she wants. That is her head of hair. You know, who am I to judge how people wear their hair? But like, I don't like it.
Probably tough to maintain in space. I mean, you know, maybe if you're like on a steady base, then you have your products and.
It's her equivalent of Adama shaving his mustache.
Okay.
So,
or maybe her equivalent to Miller shaving his head back into the belter style. You know, I get it. Hair is part of your identity.
And it could be symbolic. I mean,
right. She's a belter, and then maybe she's doing that to sort of like break with belter culture on some level, because who wouldn't feel like a larger part of humanity in general after the end of season 3?
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's not even so much breaking with, you know, the belters, but embracing her family on the ship. It's saying that I don't stand apart from you. I'm part of the group. That's the way I see it anyway.
Right. Like she's just made a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see a lot of parallels between the end of season 3, where there are several factions trapped in an area dealing with proto-molecule technology that they don't understand. They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to react to it. They don't know what the rules are. And they're all cut off, far from home. It's not like you can get a ship out there to them in 5 minutes. There's no Uber Eats delivery on Islas. You know, you've got a long way to go for help. Yeah, Islas, potato.
I side with the Belters on that one. They got there first.
Well, it's Vern Gorman, who is a Earther, who introduces it as, who says New Terra. I'm betting Illis is the name that the Belters gave it.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe I'm wrong.
That's my bet.
But like, I don't know that for sure.
Because why would Belters name a
Courtney drinks wine?
But anyway.
You want me chatty on this, right? I mean, otherwise I would just hide in my corner and sit silently.
So that's new characters. So we've got new characters in this season.
Oh, we get good new characters this season.
Yeah, and you know, I guess that's as good a place to start as any with Carl Tanner from Genali, the legend.
It's like, I mean, I feel like I hope he doesn't just turn out to be a complete scumbag.
Right, like
because that's what I expect. And the show has been so good about, you know, subverting what I expect from the characters. So I don't know. I hope he's not just another.
Yeah, you fell into my trap. Yeah. I don't think that they'll do that.
Are we talking about Mercury?
We're talking about Mercury.
Yeah.
I mean, I could.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, don't tell me we're speculating.
I know.
We know he very much rubs Amos the wrong way. That's fairly obvious from the trailers that they do not get along.
But that said, I do kind of want him to say "fucking."
Right. I kind of do too. Or maybe just drink some wine from the skull. That would be cool too. Bust out a couple of knives.
Yeah, let's see what his knife skills are.
Right.
That's what I need for my wine, Steven. I should get a skull just in honor of your streams.
Okay.
All right, I will see what I can do about that. I know. I could think of a person.
You know a guy?
Yeah, right, exactly. My skull guy.
You had so many skulls for Halloween. I actually do have a skull guy. You were like hiding them through your house.
Yeah, I have 3 of them, and I just kept re-hiding them whenever they got found. Where people were likely to find them. It was a lot of fun. That's how I celebrate Halloween in my house. But anyway, we're way off topic again.
I will say
a great group of people. Go ahead, John.
To go off on a slightly weird tangent. When I was watching the trailer, there is one part where what's the actor's name we're talking about? The one who played Tanner on Burn Gorman. There is one part where he starts speaking, but he's off camera, and I swear to God that I thought it was Stannis talking. Just is something about the accent. and then I'm like, oh God, what are they bringing everybody? But no, then so that doesn't have anything to do with anything. But just thought I'd throw that in there. But yeah, no, I mean he's a great actor, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings. Like I said, I just hope he gets a little something different to work with versus what he normally does.
Yeah, I mean, I
think it's a better character. You may not like him, you may whatever, but I think the character itself is going to be very interesting. It's got a lot of depth.
Definitely.
Yeah,
don't believe everything you see right on the surface of,
One thing that the Expanse writers do really well is at least making you understand the motivations of why people are making the choices they're making. Even if you don't agree with their choices, you're like, but I understand why you came to that decision. Like even to the point of Ashford trying to blow up the ring at the end of season. He's like, I'm trying to save everyone. Holden knows that won't work, but that doesn't make Ashford a bad guy. It makes him he's not a villain. He's an adversary. And I hope that the same can be said of Murtry.
He's enforcing the law. I mean, He is definitely on the side of the legal UN government going there to claim a territory. And there are a bunch of illegal squatters there. And,
he's got his mission.
Right.
He's got his mission. And we'll see more. I mean, you'll get to know him better, but
we'll get to know all these people better.
Well, I mean, and how
you might hate him at first.
I think and forgive me, I don't know the names of the characters, of the new characters. I guess I could look on IMDb, but the scientist who is also UNN, which she's got curly blonde hair.
Oh, Evie, she is fabulous.
She's got like a medium skin tone. You know who I'm talking about.
She's brilliant.
Yeah, that's a character just based on, and we haven't really seen her say or do a whole lot in any of the promotional materials, but she's with Naomi and Holden at one point. She's standing there when Holden reaches out to touch the thing. She's standing in the hallway with Holden when the hallway explodes from the outside. And again, she reads scientist to me, and I'm just like, ooh, that's gonna be, because you were even saying earlier about how they try so hard to get the science good and right, which is one of the things that drew me into this show to begin with. Was I'm a physics guy. I watch science news and read science news every week. It's understanding physics and cosmology and stuff like that is kind of a passion of mine. So to see a show get it so right so often, like in the entire series, I might be able to think of 3 mistakes, as we understand modern physics. But like, yeah, a scientist character who seems to be in the middle of the crap with the crew a lot. Yeah, I'm here for it.
Well, they seem to have one every season. We had Prax last season. He was a botanist, and he was very instrumental in the plot. So to have another, we know with UNN, they're going to be sending a team to this planet, this unexplored planet, this new planet. They're going to send their best and brightest, their smartest people. They've got to understand this new planet, this new environment, this new place. Is it habitable? Is this some place that they can actually use? Yes, there's people there, but does that mean that it's a great environment for humans to live on? It's an unknown biosphere. That's my new word today. Biosphere. It's an unknown biosphere. We don't know if there's organisms there that are compatible with humans, with human anatomy, with human biology. More than likely, it's going to not be very compatible because of different evolutionary paths. But we can also see similar evolutionary paths, see what is universal, so to speak.
Yeah, there's not to get too sciencey, but there's an idea in chemistry called chirality, which is it a left-handed molecule or a right-handed molecule? And I forget which it is, but pretty much all life on Earth is built out of one kind. It's very rare to find the other handedness of molecule, so to speak, in biomatter. And it can, like, in some of the rare cases where it does exist, you get like the same molecule with 2 completely different, say, flavors if they're in a food. But yeah, that type of like incompatible biology leads to a mosquito from Illis landing on you, biting you, and dying because your blood is poison. Which, that would be great if I could do that to the mosquitoes that live here.
Right.
But does that mean it would happen to you if you got hungry and had to make a meal off of mosquitoes?
Right. They might have literally no nutritional value or even be poisonous just based on their chemical makeup. Yeah. And why wouldn't it? The chances of life evolving to match our specific biological needs is pretty slim.
Can I tell you an anecdote from the book that's definitely not even going to make it on the show?
As Weezy says, could happen. Sure. If you're not spoiling anything, go ahead.
Well, there's this little girl, and she has a book. And in her book, there's a little girl feeding bread to the pigeons in the park or the ducks in the park.
Right.
And she sees an analog, and she thinks she's being sweet and tries to feed it, and the thing dies. And she's heartbroken. I mean, I guarantee you, it's so insignificant. It's not going to make it.
Right. That doesn't feel like a spoiler.
It's just such a sweet story of this little girl who, like, she came from Earth. She has a book about like little girls on Earth. They go to the park, they feed the animals, and it breaks her heart.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. Yeah, it just makes me wonder a lot of things. They spend so much time getting the science right, so that when they break the rules, we're all just like, what?
No, but Stephen, you will be pleased. Like, well, at least in the books, they really do go into like the biology and how our trees have all developed from similar microorganisms.
Right. I mean, I get what you're saying, but like, I doubt the show will relax in that regard either. Just because James S.A. Corey writes for the show as well and is so heavily involved.
And he's so involved. I mean, they both are so involved that one of them is like on set every time they record. They're in the writer's room. I mean, the amount of inclusion is incredible to me. And it makes me so happy because, there are so many series that get adapted and you're like, oh, they ruined my books. This is not one of them at all. They really go out of their way to stay true to the novels.
Yeah, I mean, everything I've heard from people who are book readers, which, you guys, I think, know that I am not a book reader. My
make you.
My dyslexia makes it almost a chore sometimes, Wait till Winds of Winter comes out. If Winds of Winter comes out, we don't need to go off on a Winds of Winter rant, anybody. But like, if and when that book comes out, I will buy it and read that book for sure.
So should I put away my notepad full of Winds of Winter discussion?
Yes, please do. You save it for Twitter. Save it for Twitter.
Yeah. So how about the political situation, guys? That's the other big thing, that talks about is all the political drama, all of the pathways of power and what has happened to this.
And who's right? Because, because Mercury is going there within like a perfectly legitimate position with the government of the United Nations. And, there are things that happen with the Belters that they're not gonna coexist peacefully, at least until they have to.
Can I ask something that maybe I'm missing something obvious, but maybe this is sort of divulged, at the start of the new season, but I'm curious as to why they're all focused on this one planet, given the number of the wormholes that opened up.
I have a conjecture. As somebody who's only seen the promotional materials, I have a conjecture. At least this is my current headcanon, okay? They're probably divvied up the systems between the various factions. Some Belters decided to go to a UNN planet and claim it as their own, to be their first, settlers in the Wild West style. Then a UNN dispatches a ship to intervene. That ship goes down. There's a scene where we see the UNN scientist in the ship, and like there's a giant hole in the side of the ship, and they're crashing. And I believe it's that ship that has the rotating beam on it. Actually, not that ship proper, but a ship like a landing craft that comes from that ship. They crash, and then they're on a planet with people who are there to try to settle to have a better life. These Belter refugees, and they're there to enforce, the will of the UNN government, and this is rightly UNN land. So I don't know if that actually answers your question, but I feel like we're focusing on this planet because it's a flashpoint, and also because it's got active proto-molecule tech, which seems to get more and more active the more Holden touches things.
He just pulls a Holden. He goes there trying to like pacify everyone and make everyone get along, and then
but like he's such a baby Yoda. I mean, I just want to be like, stop touching things, and he's going to stare at me and just touch the thing.
Wait a second. Baby Yoda has things under so much more control than Holden ever could. So
Baby Yoda for Captain of the Rossi. I agree.
Are we talking
except maybe
now?
He might not be able to stop himself from pushing buttons on the ship, though.
Right. For those of you outside the U.S., Canada, it's U.S., Canada, and Denmark that got it? That got Disney Plus? I don't know. A lot of the world still doesn't have it. Baby Yoda's out there. It is known.
According to my daughter, who is an expert on these, she's as nerdy as I am. It's not actually Baby Yoda.
It's not Yoda.
Yes, but Dave Filoni says right now. Dave Filoni said right now we have permission to call it Baby Yoda. So
like we don't have a name for that species. We got to call it something. And Yoda is obviously the most iconic character of that race in Star Wars, so it's Baby Yoda. Anyway, I guess enough Mandalorian talk.
We're really staying on point.
That's my fault, though. I love that show, by the way. I am loving, for the record, watching right now The Mandalorian, Watchmen, and his Dark Materials and they're all actually really good.
Those are good choices.
Yeah, and got a new Watchmen tonight.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Me too. Okay. Expanse season 4 comes out in 12 days though. And it's dropping all at once. And I am going to spend that day watching the whole thing.
See, I have really mixed feelings about this. Like, I feel like I'm going to have to binge the whole thing quickly to be involved in the conversation.
I know,
but
it's the sacrifice I have to make. I don't necessarily want to watch it all on Friday, but like, I feel like I have to. I have to strike while the iron's hot because the Sunday afterwards, we're streaming about it. I'm doing that stream.
Oh man, I guess we all have to then.
If you want to be a part of the conversation and not be spoiled.
What if I have plans that weekend? No.
I mean, it is.
Will we get through the whole season? Who knows?
Yeah,
but see,
maybe we'll limit it to like the first 5. The first half of the season, and then we can talk about the second half of the season in another stream.
Well, we'll know when the break's going to come because it'll be, up to a certain point in the plot. We can just stop there. Whatever the plot may be.
Long story short, The Expanse comes out in 12 days, and 2 days after that, we're streaming about some portion of season 4. Just so you know.
Right. My brains are going to be exploded.
Yeah.
Full of proto-molecule. So the planet's got proto-tech.
Yeah, and like it looks like in state of disrepair, and right. I said something about like flying shark teeth before. There's a shot in the trailer where it looks like, to me, it looks like a flock of birds almost. And then Holden picks one up, and it does, he turns it over in his hand, but it also like moves in some way. And just as somebody who's into science and crap, it looks like it's a magnet with all these the way the spines are coming off looks like the way a magnet lines up, say, metal shavings. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Right. I do. Like the little sketch pad we used to play with as a kid. We can make the beard on the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Etch a Sketch.
Oh, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Where you put the hair
guy, you put the beard on.
Yeah, and it's just like a piece of cardboard and a plastic thing with a face under it, and you can move the shavings around. Yeah, holy cow, Nessie. I haven't thought about that out of 30 years.
Those were a road trip special, man. Yeah. Okay, so the political, the balance of power is probably going to be shifting.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to address this. I hope Steven does a stream about The Mandalorian maybe when season 1 is over. Probably. So yes, Anna, probably. Watchmen 2. And maybe his Dark Materials too. So yeah.
Steven, now I got to subscribe to all these streaming services.
Hey, I share passwords with my family. When they say 4 devices, we share them amongst each other. So I've got every service, but I only pay for a third of them. But I am the one paying for Disney Plus, for the record.
It's worth it.
You totally, man. Oh my gosh, totally. Yeah. We've been derailed from season 4 of The Expanse for a minute now. I am
trying to get us back.
There's only so much to cover. I mean,
right.
We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if you let me, I'll.
Well, and again, we'll get into that maybe a little bit at the end. Okay, so here's a character we haven't even talked about. Actually, there's a few. We haven't mentioned Avasarala yet, and we haven't mentioned Bobby yet. And both of those,
man.
Yeah, and both of those characters are separate from whatever is happening with the Rossi on some level.
Well, they're not on planet.
Right. But like, I get you, Courtney. They almost have to be tied up in the events of surrounding it somehow. Like, Bobby is clearly getting into a fight with somebody, and looks like she's under arrest. I'm not sure what MV.
I mean, Sharla is running Earth, so
yeah,
she can't go
off planet.
She's got Esteban, what's his name?
All of this.
She got Esteban's old job, right? Like, she's the top dog.
Yeah.
Right. She's trying to keep things together back home while all this is happening. And so far away that, she can't go there. So she has to send Holden as like an emissary for.
Thank you for saying that, because I did not want to spoil it. But yes, she's the one.
Well, it's in the trailer. It's in the trailer. We can say this.
Yes, we're fine. We're fine with stuff that's in the trailer.
Fine line here.
But
yeah, she sends him thinking like he will be a good mediator because he can identify with both sides, and
he's done a pretty good job getting people to work together so far, with the station, the ring station situation,
And everyone knows that he's, that he says what he thinks, so they take him at his word. So that's important when you go into a situation like that people know you're not trying to snowball them.
Yeah. He's a humanist. He believes in helping people, and he's also proved that on a not a galactic scale, but you get what I mean. Like Holden is probably known to pretty much everybody everywhere at this point, just because of his involvement not only with Eros, the Canterbury,
he's
the ring, like he is, and he can. It was his face on the Remember the Can't posters, or the art stuff they were doing, but
he's a wild card. So Sharla sends him there thinking like he's gonna advocate for her position, and he decides what he thinks is right.
Yeah, but I think she trusts him, so it's she trusts that he'll do maybe the right thing. So even if she can't have complete confidence,
but he can't stop pushing the buttons.
Right. He doesn't have any illusions about who Holden is. He is pretty much a known quantity for his unpredictability.
Mom is so true. He is a chameleon. He wants to please everybody.
Right, but she knows that if she sends him out there, that he's going to work toward the best possible resolution for everybody involved.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And whatever he's had the most experience with, proto-molecule tech, working with those situations. He's been on Eros. He's been to the ring station. He's dealt with the hybrids. He's got the most experience. He's the most experienced.
And if some monkey is going to go out there and push buttons,
he's going to go push buttons like he always does.
Holden, right? Because at least he has a guide and knows what to do.
Well, he's got an inside guy.
Yeah,
he's got an inside guy, so to speak, in a fedora.
Hey, let's not. John is
John's
about to pull his headphones out right now.
He was his guide to the ring station.
Yeah, and plus they have talked
navigate and communicate with what was going on with the ring station, being like the voice of the proto-molecule.
And plus, as far as spoiling me, he's, they've shown him in the trailer, and they what?
TikTok.
And they talked about him in some of the interviews too. I think Stephen Strait was talking something about to the effect of how how life sort of normalizes with Miller kind of being in Holden's head, just in general, in terms of how he interacts with the other crew members. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, because once you normalize somebody that only you can see talking to you, I'm sure hilarity must ensue. So.
And now that we're on Miller, can you guys please, you shared in our chat leading up to this that he's somebody. That's so exciting. I'm so happy for him that he gets to direct an episode.
Oh, right? Yeah. He's directed 6, I think.
6?
I think there's
amazing.
Episode 6 or 6 episodes?
I think it's 6 episodes.
I
was reading now. It may be this season and part of next season, because this season is done and they're already, getting geared up for next season 5. And he's going to be playing a big part. Thomas Jane is too. I mean, that they have trusted him. This was like an interview that he was so excited about, that they've trusted him to direct the upcoming this season and the upcoming season. And what a big honor that is for him, too.
I know, such an exciting accomplishment. And you know how passionate he is about this series. He is so invested. Like he's going to do an amazing job because this is his career right now. I mean, I'm so happy for him.
Well, and let's be honest, they're killing it. I mean, everything that this cast and crew did over at Sci-Fi was so good, and now they've got a pocket full of Bezos bucks. It's it's the same thing, but it's like it's a reward for their dedication to their craft that they, despite being literally canceled, got rescued.
They weren't canceled because they were bad. They just outgrew their budget, and now they have a bigger, better budget.
Well, and actually the reason they got canceled is because people were coming on and they were not watching it when it was live, which is where Sci-Fi made their money on it. They were watching it on the streaming services.
So Amazon was making the bucks from the streaming service. Thank goodness for syndication that so many, they were able to build a fan base and rewatch.
Right. And to be honest, when the whole Save the Expanse thing was happening, I hadn't watched the show yet. I had maybe heard of it, and I became aware of it when, my Twitter friends started tweeting about it, and I retweeted a few things. Hey, I'm going to help my friends try to save their show, and I'm so glad I did, because when I did finally make it around to watching it, it's my favorite show I'm watching right now. Watchmen's coming up strong, but
when Ashaya and Aziz were doing that Fandom Media podcast, they were talking about it all the time, and that was right around the time, and it was just perilous but exciting for all of us.
Right. But I don't know, it just if you follow Hollywood, that sort of thing just doesn't really happen. It has happened a few times in the modern era with, you get these social media movements. Brooklyn Nine-Nine comes to mind.
It's curious because the same kind of campaign that was going on for this show, Save the Expanse, fans were doing it at the same time for the Fox show Lucifer, which got canceled. It was the same thing, Save Lucifer. I wonder if they actually stole it from them. And that got picked up by Netflix. So it's becoming more of a thing. But
it was the cast that was just as invested as the fans.
Yeah.
So, for instance, the event where they found out from Jeff Bezos that they were going to be picked up, Steven was the only one invited. He got the entire cast to come with him to this event, and they all sat at a table and they introduced themselves, and they politicked for this just as hard as the fans did. And so when they knew Jeff Bezos was a fan and it was an event in his honor and he was the real celebrity at the event, but they came and they sat as a team at a table. And when Jeff Bezos went up to speak, the first thing he said was, "Oh, by the way, I want to tell you about this new show we're going to have on Amazon." And, but if they hadn't all come in solidarity, and shown that they would all show up for a renewed
even the crew,
they didn't, seek other jobs and give up on it. They went as a crew,
united front,
as an entire cast to this event and said, here we are. You love us. Throw us a bone here. And
they did the panel before. They had the panel. They made sure that they had the panel right before he was going to come in and get his award, so that everybody in the room had already was all excited about the Expanse anyway.
Right.
They were talking about it, and they had the panel right beforehand, so the same people were in.
And they knew he would be in the room when they spoke. He would be in
the room, and Cass went outside and was like, "Where's he at? Come on in, dude."
Yeah.
If anybody,
they were that passionate. it wasn't just the fans. They were totally on the team of Renew the Expanse. And it's not because they couldn't get other jobs. Like, those are great actors and actresses. They could have easily just said, okay, this got canceled, on to the next.
And it looked great on my resume.
Yes, but they kept strong, solid. They get together every weekend in season and rehearse together. I mean, they are legitimately a family. They are legitimately friends. So they and they include the crew in that family. Like, it's not just the ones who are famous. They really feel this connection to everyone involved, including the authors of the novels, which is so key. I mean, the fact that the actors are reading the books and talking to, James S.A. Corey about these books and about their roles and about their backstories and about their motivations and, sitting down with psychologists and doing research into, the way someone like Wes Chatham talked about how he sat with a psychologist for multiple sessions discussing like how someone like Amos would be raised and, how he would handle that and what traits would exhibit later in life from someone who had that kind of upbringing. Like, the dedication of that staff is incredible to me.
Yeah, and you said we couldn't talk for 2 hours.
I did. I was like, we've got a couple trailers. What are we?
We can keep this conversation going. But we've been going for like an hour, folks. So we're going to stop and do the mid-roll break. I've got a few things I want to tell you guys about. First of all, again, thanks to everyone who's here. You guys make this worth doing to me. It's great to come on every week and feel like I have a little time with my friends and family to chat about the nerdy stuff I love. That being said, one of the things I do from time to time is have a giveaway for my patrons. And I have this month I'm giving away this Stark laptop pad, Stark branded laptop pad. I will be sending it out to the winner, who is one of my patrons. And this month's winner is, drumroll please, Kraken Tacos.
Kraken
Tacos.
Congrats, Kraken.
He ends up working a lot of Sundays, I think. So he's not always available to be here during the stream, but is a loyal supporter of the channel. So I'm going to have him contact me, and I'm going to send that off to you, buddy. Cool. On to the next thing. Thursday is my birthday. I'm going to be streaming on my birthday. Robert.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Stephen.
In Deep Geek streams on Thursday afternoon, so I will be going live shortly after Robert is finished with his normal stream. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but yeah, I'll be streaming on Thursday. Just show up, say hi, have fun, ask me. It's going to be kind of an AMA kind of me. I have to work early Friday, so I can't really go out Thursday night. So yeah, I'm just going to have some fun.
At your usual, like 6 p.m. Eastern?
Whenever Robert is done, which is usually around 6 Eastern. Yes.
I will try to stop it and say hi.
Yeah, just
I'll be there.
say hi. I will also hopefully be revealing all the changes coming to the channel at that point, and there are a few. Going to be renaming the channel. Got an artist. Already seen a rough draft of the new logo.
Oh,
good.
I can't wait to see it. That's exciting.
Nessie's seen it. It's pretty good.
Are you going to tell us the new name at least? Because everyone weighed in, and we're all hanging on your.
Right. It's one that we all kind of settled on in that Slack chat group. But yeah, the channel. I guess I'll reveal it now. We'll be
no pressure, but I want to know.
I'm a sucker for peer pressure. What can I say? I jumped off the bridge because my friend did.
We would have bungee cords attached to us, and we would be having fun.
Right. The channel will be rebranded as Here Be Dragons.
I love that. it. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, that was my vote.
I spent a lot of time talking to several people about some of those ideas, including a friend of the channel, Maester Mary, who is a copyright lawyer and is an excellent resource for anyone who is trying to get into the, if you want to be in the content creating space and you're trying to make sure you're doing it right, copyright wise, Mary is a
God, I never even thought about that. That's a whole other level.
Best resource. She's I haven't read the whole thing yet.
I mean, she's a great friend. I didn't even realize she was a great.
Right. She's writing a document about how to like get your channel going and like DCMA and you and things like that, you know. So
Oh, Mary.
Yeah.
I love her.
Mary's great. Her channel is Up From Under Winterfell. You should go subscribe. She doesn't post a lot of stuff, but everything she posts is solid gold.
She's brilliant.
Yes.
She really is.
Woman is brilliant.
Several brilliant essays about Jon Snow over the last several months that if you haven't read them, you need to. If you're,
So yes, Comtrend, it is the season 2, episode 11 title of in the Expanse. Actually, I think that is titled Here There Be Dragons, and my channel will just be Here Be Dragons, but I kind of settled on it for several reasons, but we'll talk about that Thursday during my birthday stream. So, and yeah, I know I'm saying it with an F and I'm doing it on purpose.
How many are you going to be this year, Stephen?
I'm going to be 21.
Awesome. I can finally take you out for a drink.
1 plus X, where X is a
I might have already done that.
Yeah. I'm going to be 15 for the 3rd time.
Man, my little brother's getting so big.
Right. And I do got to make sure that I shout out my patron, Ridiculous Ed Tollett, my #1 top patron. That dude is he's an amazing follow on Twitter. He's just a good guy. Love him to death. He works Sundays a lot too, so he can't always be here. But
is it Phil? Hi, Phil.
No, it's.
What is this?
His name is Sean.
Sean, sorry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he has, like, you guys remember the old beard? Well, that guy's got beard game that I was jealous of even then. Beautiful red beard. Anyway, hey, there's Kraken Tacos.
Kraken.
Kraken Tacos. I don't know if you saw my tweet to you, and I announced it just a minute ago. You are the winner of this month's Patreon giveaway. This being your prize right here, my man. So contact me on Twitter and let me know where to mail this to. I think that's it for the mid-roll. If I think of something, I'll interrupt you rudely and talk about whatever I want.
That's kind of how we roll here.
I like that, Pedar. I'm 3.79 Jovian years old. That's right. I'm a toddler. Okay, so Bobby.
Yes.
I cannot figure out for the life of me how she figures into this. There's a few shots of her in the trailers, and she's got a little bit of spoken dialogue, but like to me, there's a scene where she's being like forced through a hallway, and it looks like she's maybe handcuffed, and it says MVPD on the uniforms. Yeah, I freeze frame stuff. And I'm like, that's Martian something police department. It's gotta be. I'm not sure what the V stands for, but like, so she is under arrest. There you go, Mariner Valley. That makes perfect sense. She's clearly still at odds with the authorities in Mars. And one of the things that somebody brought up to me, might have been you, Nessie, when we talked the other day on the phone about the impact that the ring gates are going to have on Mars.
Absolutely.
Why spend 100 years terraforming a planet when there's a perfectly good planet on the other side of one of those rings? So like Mars might become a ghost town.
It's a good possibility because, the young people are Bobby said it best, 50 years and 50 more, and then they won't even see it. So
Precisely.
The terraforming has had to be put on the back burner so many times for, their military endeavors. The best and the brightest have been, they've been focused on this for so long, and they have very little to show for it. The generations have been living underground, under domes. The people that the youth now don't have maybe
these kids today. Get off my lawn. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they may not have the vision or the drive maybe that the original Mars settlers did. They were going to see this, they were going to do this, they were going to make this grand thing happen, and that may not be the case, for the rebellious, disenfranchised youth of Mars. So
think about it. I mean, if you grow up in a small town and your grandpa's preaching about the way things are supposed to be, but there's a whole big world out there. There's bright lights, big city, like, the best and the brightest move away. They go find their adventure. There's a whole universe out there.
That's been true of every exploration or colonization. I mean, besides from all the bad things that colonization is, the people who go and do and explore are not your fat cat sitting back, comfortable in his position. They've made it, they're comfortable. These are people who want something better, who want to make something better. They want an opportunity to make something for themselves, their own dream. They want their own dream, not grandpa's dream or great grandpa's dream, or this is how it's always been. And, your path is determined for you at birth.
Right.
They might want something different.
That's the beautiful thing about these authors, is how well do they understand human nature?
Right.
I mean, the way that human nature just plays out, and it stays the same as everything changes. As the whole world expands, human nature will always be the same. And, kids are going to be kids. Even, they're, never mind.
Well, in season 3, the Martians were already were giving Bobby the side eye, the whole time that they were
what is
out.
it with these assholes?
Yeah, why are you siding with these guys? They were giving her the side eye the whole time, even though she had been cleared of, being a traitor, and reinstated in the military. Unit cohesion has kind of been broken there. So Bobby doesn't really fit back into the old mold that she came from. So, she's trying to find her way in, the post.
And this kind of goes back to what I was talking about with not really knowing, where this, season goes compared to what I thought coming out of season 3, because with her sitting, in the co-pilot seat of the Rossi, I thought I knew where, her story was headed, and the whole story was headed, and that they were just going through the ring, and that's where the season would pick up. But now, we're going to start off with her, seemingly apart from the crew again. So yeah, it's interesting. I have no idea what her story is going to involve.
Well, and, apart from the crew, obviously enough time has passed also that people have gone through the rings to claim, it's another time jump of some sort. I'm not sure how long it is, but 6 months to a year seems logical to me, at least. I don't know. I just don't know. Like, the proto-molecule is so confusing still. Like, what does it want? What is it doing? What is the whole, I'm sorry. I got derailed here a little bit, but like.
No, but as far as I've gotten, we still don't, we're still finding out more and more. And
because Miller or the investigator or whatever is so clearly part of it attached to it, but like, I'm going to need a ride. Well, apparently he needs a ride to Illis because so that Holden can wake the thing up, and which is going to be bad, but like the same way Eros was bad, it led to the ring gates, which may ultimately be good, but might really ultimately be bad.
We just keep learning.
Yeah.
The whole planet is trying to kill you.
And that level of like, I can see two outcomes. One where things are really awesome, but you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, apparently.
Right.
And then there's another one that's like, we're all just screwed and dead. Like I have this theory,
and it could be both, Stephen.
Right. I have this theory.
I mean, with 9 novels,
Right.
But somebody could die. There's a good possibility that there's always a possibility for untimely death.
Right. Well, and theory for a book that's not even out yet. I think the whole series is going to end with humanity kind of like having inhabited most of these planets on the other side, but then the rings close and they're separated forever. Boom, drop the mic, calling it now. That's how the series ends.
Wow.
Based on the first 3 stories only. Prove me wrong. Can't prove me wrong.
I mean, are we to the point where I can actually...
Let's give it another maybe 15 minutes, and we'll look into the chat too. Okay.
Fair enough.
But I'm going to give you plenty of time to go off, sister. And for those of you that don't want to be spoiled, yeah, we're trying to. Courtney is a book lover of this series, and she's ready to make some.
I mean, I don't want to completely ruin it for anyone, but there's been so many times you guys have brought things up. Right. I know the answer to this.
How about we keep it just to book 4?
Well, no, even still, I'm gonna probably have to duck out once we get there.
I'm going to pay attention to the chat.
Well, we got maybe do have some chat questions we need to look at before
we need to just get me and Peter on here and
right, and that's fine. So does anyone from the chat have questions about the upcoming season or something that you're super excited to see on screen? Because there's still a whole lot. There's shots of spaceships firing on each other, of bodies floating in space outside a ring, of violence both done by and to our heroes. There's a lot going on. So if you've got anything you want to bring up, now is a really good time.
Let me just say before anybody chimes in, we made a comment about this before we started the chat, but I really do love Holden's line of we need to turn off whatever it is I just turned on. That really is Holden in a nutshell.
It really is.
Absolutely. Okay, what is the deal with Miller?
That is kind of maybe the $1 million question of this series right now.
Right.
Like, because he's representative of both humanity and the proto-molecule, I think.
And all the consciousnesses from Eros that were absorbed into the proto-molecule, all of the biomass, the souls, the consciousness, whatever lives on of those people is the investigator is like the mouthpiece for all of that.
Right.
And is it the station or the ring or the proto-molecule that we know, and the blue gob on the Rocinante, the piece of gum. I keep calling it gum on the bottom of the shoe.
Right. Yeah, there is something going on with that. Like, I'm not sure what, and I expect the show will not forget.
It really freaks me out that it goes like unresolved for this long. That it's just sitting there, in the bowels of the ship, and it's like somebody noticed that thing. It's not good.
It's not doing anything.
Yeah, it's like when you sneeze and that booger gets caught in your mustache and nobody tells you.
Is it bad though? Like, would you really cut out Miller? I mean,
I don't know.
Just so long as provided. I mean, that probably is the reason for the whole Miller thing. I'm assuming that, but is that all it's going to do? It's just sitting there. Is this something that will?
It's got to be
grow.
I think,
it's like the relay beacon, for the protomolecule, that it allows it to. Okay, you can't physically leave the ring station. You're just a presence in Holden's mind, but an amplification, so to speak, whenever it needs a ride somewhere. It's like, okay, well, let's get we're on the Rocinante, we're heading out to Illis now.
Right.
It's like a signal booster, maybe.
Could be. Why did the protomolecule choose Holden?
it was on his ship.
Miller was fairly familiar with him.
Yeah, and Miller, the same way, like it adopted aspects of Julie's personality. Like Miller thought that Holden was a good guy. He had a connection with him, and it was his ship that this blob ended up on. But
like Kadar said, Holden is a tool.
Yes, but can you also, I feel like this is not a spoiler because we got past this. Like, you guys are really still focused on the protomolecule, but the protomolecule was just a tool. The protomolecule was just one tool of an entire civilization. And this civilization colonized other planets and created the ring gates. And there's so much more than this civilization. Protomolecule. Maybe you're just using it as the name for the civilization, but
yes,
trust me, it keeps growing.
Yeah, I believe you.
So we have billion-year-old technology that's waking up on this planet.
Yeah, you're gonna find out that the protomolecule was just one thing that civilization did.
Totally different.
Yeah, and who knows? Like the flying shark teeth might not be. I don't know what else to call them. They might not be protomolecule technically. They might be something that was built to fight against the protomolecule, because you don't build a failsafe that destroys solar systems into your transportation network unless you're expecting to maybe have to use it. And that doesn't happen if you're living at peace with your neighbors. You know what I mean?
Something killed them.
Right. And something killed them, but they had a system to destroy their enemies with.
Mm-hmm.
And
defense mechanisms. So
right.
But they ended up destroying themselves.
Bill Ross is asking about the flying shark teeth. There's a scene in a couple of the trailers where Holden's holding a thing in his hand, and it looks like it was recently flying, maybe a swarm of them was flying in the air, and he turns it over and it makes a flippy sound noise. It looks like a shark tooth to me on some level. So.
Throwing stars. There's a hurricane throwing stars.
So yeah, they're flying shark teeth.
Right. They're butterflies. They're fireflies.
Butterflies.
Stop it.
Hey, look, you've already seen them. They're in the trailer. That's not a spoiler if it's in the trailer.
Okay, but when you start off a sentence with "in the books,"
No. I'll stop.
Speaking of,
sorry, this is very challenging for me.
Yeah, and you've done great, Courtney, and you're about to get
I want to tell you so much about that entire situation, and I have kept my mouth shut, John. I really have.
You have done a fantastic job, and I think we're going to say goodbye to the first round of folks now. For those of you that don't, I'm sorry. John, actually, if there's something else you want to say, get it in now, buddy.
No, and I've felt
John out. I can keep my mouth shut.
No, that's fine. I want to apologize because I have felt a little bit useless because I've been absorbing mostly what you guys have said, and and I don't know how much I've had to contribute. Hopefully, it was worthwhile.
Love your perspective.
It's always great to have you, buddy. It's always great. We're going to have you back for season 4, whatever.
Okay.
You're a sweet little virgin, John.
Oh God.
Oh God, you're gonna make him blush.
Yeah. But I'm gonna duck out just because I'd rather enter the season completely fresh. So, but But thank you guys. I've had a great time.
John,
Thank
as
you,
always,
John.
great to have you, buddy. And for those of you who are ducking out for spoiler talk, I do want to say thank you for coming. Come by Thursday afternoon after In Deep Geek is done streaming. I will be doing my birthday stream, and next Sunday, fingers crossed that the technology doesn't fail us again, I will have Aziz from History of Westeros as my guest on I Know That Nerd. The week after that is season 4 of The Expanse, talking about it on some level. So
we're gonna talk something.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about.
Well, why don't we survey the chat like what they would like to see? Because they're not all gonna sit down and watch every single episode on Friday. Why don't we see like, would they like us to do 3 at a time? Would they like us to do half?
There you go. That's actually.
Would they like us to spoil them? Because I don't want to have to clear everyone out every time I open my mouth.
We could just say we could just limit it to X number of episodes.
That sounds like a great idea. Sound off in the chat. How many episodes do you think we should cover in 2 weeks? The show will have been out for 2 days at that point.
And we're going to get, what, 13 episodes?
No, 10.
10.
A varying length.
I see some 1s, some 2s, some 3s.
Yeah, I see a 2 and a
I don't see anyone saying all at once.
Yeah.
And like,
thank you.
I don't want to ruin everyone on the entire season. I want everyone to be as excited as we are. I mean, I'm probably going to watch them all the first weekend, let's be honest. But
I probably will watch a lot of them, more than what we're covering. But maybe 2 or 3 at a time is the way to go.
I think so. We can enjoy them more. We can spend more time.
And people will feel more comfortable sticking around, same way we've had John this whole time and gone season by season, like I don't want people to feel like they have to run away just because I can't keep my mouth shut. I can do it.
Sorry. That's hilarious.
I don't even know this man, and I love him.
I know. Hadar started showing up when we started doing Expanse coverage, and he's back.
And I know everyone. How do I not even know him? And
I don't know him either, but you're very welcome.
I look for him every time, though.
Yeah, I know to expect him here during the Expanse stream. You've been a great addition, buddy.
He's the only one who totally gets me because he's always like.
Yeah, I'm seeing some more votes for 2 and 3.
Yeah, so we'll do 2 or 3 at a time. And I'll let you know more as
after the first week.
Yeah. So we'll aim for 2 or 3. I'm not sure yet.
I like Mom's plan.
Okay.
3 at a time and a final episode with a recap discussion.
That's a good idea. So
good structure.
I guess 3 is pretty good.
Your mom's a wise woman. I don't know.
Look, like my mom is not right about everything, but when she's wrong, she's probably still right. All right, guys. So for those of you that don't want any book spoilers now, the time has come. Thanks for coming, and we will see you in the next stream. So peace and be excellent to each other. And spoiler talk starts in 30 seconds.
All right. I'll see you guys. Thanks again.
John.
All right, John. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Ooh,
Okay, can I spoil you now? Because the landing is sabotaged by the Belters. The Belters that are on the planet, there's like a radical faction among them. And they blow up the landing pad so that the ship can't land. And I mean, I don't know what happened. The trailer might contradict this. This might not be what happens. But
right, this is book stuff.
Right, there is an explosion. You can
but
see
there's
the
a faction within the Belters. There are brilliant scientists within the Belters. Basia's one of them, and his wife and his daughter.
If it's going to be him, or if it's going to be a character like him.
But
we know that there's some.
It's going to be. The law of conservation of actors says that they're going to have to combine certain storylines the way Game of Thrones did, and that's okay.
Right,
with this show, I'm very comfortable with the way they've done it. Like, they've done a great job.
There is a radical faction of they're Belter, but there's OPA. They were former OPA.
Right, so they're not going to let the
UN
take
you're not
over
going
their
to take elders
planet.
out there. There's not some factor of the OPA that's going to be going with them.
Yeah, I don't know why I hadn't considered that, but good God, that makes a lot of sense.
And so
they
they
want
blow
their
up
piece
the
of
landing
pie too.
platform, but
Just
then
like, sorry, Courtney, go ahead.
no, there are people that like are scientists and like actually good people that feel kind of bad that, you know, there might have been casualties or whatever. And then the scientists from End Fleet are obviously like the best equipped in the business. So they have all these domes. They want to keep their samples perfectly protected. And
They're doing a science mission.
Yes. And so they like lose materials in this process. And so they're trying to do everything ad hoc. And they're, you know, they're like those nerds like me that are like, but this is not a perfect test because we're not within the dome and we don't have the materials that we should have had to do this testing. And you know, then obviously they're on an alien planet, so like there are crises that occur and they're don't feel like they're perfectly equipped to deal with it because this is not like
Belter ingenuity, man. Belter ingenuity.
So obviously they're gonna end up like all having to figure out how to survive in this alien world. And it's just like
imagine like a shipwreck. You know, you have what you have with you.
Yes, you know, and if half of it gets blown up,
looking up a radio with coconuts.
So then Mercury lands and he's pissed because, you know, half of his shit got blown up.
So he's not in a good mood when he gets there. You know,
he's
dealing with
perfectly legal. Like he's going on behalf of the UNN. It's just everything about it. It's such a compelling story.
I mean, yeah, you're right. That is a big spoiler, and I'm glad you sat on that until this point. You know, but I'm not going to say that I'm
like a car bomb.
Right, but like
you've got to figure this out.
I don't get super weird about spoilers. You know, some people do, and I want to.
I love like the more information I can get.
I got you.
I'm nerdy like that.
No, that's great though. Like, I don't feel like, I mean, they're called spoilers, but you know, the idea is that you're ruining something. You know, you haven't ruined anything.
And it might be totally different, and I support them if they decide to go in a different direction. Like if the mechanical butterfly, like I just want to see the mechanical butterfly swarms because that's like incredible to me. And if they take it down, it will change the story. It will be amazing.
I'm telling you, they're flying shark teeth.
If they're flying shark teeth, I support that too.
It could be like the thorns that get, you know, they're these the tech that's coming out of the ground is looking like these ropes almost like they had on the station. And I mean, it could be flinging out these little things like quote unquote thorns, you know, who knows?
Who knows?
The beautiful thing about this show is like it can take a nerdy book lover like me and make me actually support their decision to radically overhaul the story because I know that they are invested in keeping everything like authentic to the feel, authentic to the overall
to the themes
story. And I know that the authors are involved. So I'm okay if they decide to make them shark teeth and the shark teeth take the ship down. Like, I'm okay with that. It's just.
So what you're telling me though is that my theory that they were attacked by the flying shark teeth is not correct.
In the books, it is a radical action. Yeah. In the books.
The whole freaking planet blows up. Or half the planet blows up.
A moon does, and they think, see, this is how like, naive we are coming from our world, that if something is orbiting the planet, it's a moon. But when it literally melts in the sky.
In equidistant orbit around the planet.
There's so much, you know.
I like this. Are the giant thorn-shaped buildings giant shark teeth? Actually, to me, they read more like horns. So maybe it's like a space shark that shoots its teeth and has giant horns.
I mean, there are ruins that resemble
crack the code.
They're not bones. I mean, there's so much. And the way that we as like humans going abroad interpret things, the naivete is built into the story too, where what does it look like to us? Well, that's not what it is. It looks like a butterfly, but really it's this little like mechanical like structure, like all of these things, the ruins that they find, the technology they discover. This civilization was very real, and it established itself, and it was completely wiped out. And what wiped it out? Like, we still don't even know.
Right. That's awesome, though. That you
But
still
the
don't
planetary
know.
defenses are still turned on to protect us from whatever that was.
And that Holden somehow ends up with power to activate these things, or that Amos,
he did stick his hand in the blender. He did.
I don't want to ruin it like completely for everyone.
Right.
I just want to build the hype that you have so much to look forward to and so much to be excited about. And that's really what I want to convey. I don't want to
you don't want to beat me up anymore. I am right there. But I like what Padar says. One of the things that was touched on is what on these new planets is biological analogs and what may or may not be prototech. And we might not recognize that. And it's also similar to something that Bill Ross said, is I'm hoping to see some wild looking alien animals.
Oh my goodness. Can I just say that my number one excitement for Amazon taking this over is I want to see these alien creatures done with their CGI. It's going to be amazing. Like,
yeah, I'm hyped for that.
whole new planet.
And
Courtney,
Danny McKay supports my giant space shark theory.
Wait, Nessie, what are you trying to?
I was trying to say like 2 words: Miller bug.
Okay.
That's what I want to see. Miller.
I gotta get Nessie to at least read season 4 now, like book 4.
I did. I read.
Oh, you did?
I was bad. I was a bad girl. I couldn't help myself. And I also read
binge-worthy series, and it's binge-worthy books.
I also read Gods of Risk, the novella, the Bobby novella, and see that's where I think they're going to incorporate her storyline in this season, is what's going on and happening in the novella Gods of Risk, where Bobby is back home, kind of rootless, doesn't know what to do with her life.
Oh, that's the one. See, they all run together for me. So that's the one where she like rescues her nephew, and her nephew gets involved in some shady.
Well, there's parts there's things out of that storyline that I think that they're going to be incorporating, whether it's it's actually.
I hope they do, because that's your real view into Mars, into what it's really like for a kid living there. So that's why you recognized that they want to get out. But even on Illis, there's Basia's daughter, like, is desperate to go to university. She doesn't want to be stuck on some alien planet with her family. And think about how protective Basia is of his children now that Katoa has been through what he's been through, and Basia just left. He feels really.
And they've been rootless, and they've had no home, and they ever since the Ganymede incident, way before the rings opened. Where did all those refugees go to? Some of them were taken in, others not so much.
Others were smart enough to find a spot to fend for themselves, and there's so many places established settlement here. So when you said before, Stephen, the UN didn't just arbitrarily only send a ship here, they sent them to other places, but this was a place that was settled first, and there was some conflict obviously when they blew up their landing pad, and,
right.
So then
they go, what are they at the basic level, what are belters out in the belt doing? They're mining, they're gathering materials, they're getting resources. That's their backup. That's what they baseline know what to do, is to gather resources that they know are going to be useful, that they're going to have that there's a market for, and they are going to do what they do best.
And Illis does have significant resources that Earth wants.
Right.
So the UN is, trying to claim it.
Yeah, I saw some talk in the chat earlier that there was like lithium or something on
Huge
Illis,
lithium deposits.
and then that like sending that first shipment of lithium is going to make them financially independent. So if you delay that shipment, they remain independent, or they remain dependent.
And
Or
the UN is trying to claim it for their own because they're claiming that they own this planet, even though these people were there, they mined it themselves. Like they got there first.
It's just like the gold rush, man. Somebody's
Yeah,
going to jump the claim.
It's going to be
Mercury's
some really
got more guns, but they have brilliant scientists. I mean, it's gonna get good.
And what are you going to do when you're so far away from the places that have are backing your authority? You're a long way away from home.
Exactly. Like Mercury comes with all the backing of the law behind him, but like it would take weeks, months for somebody else to get out there and support him. And if the builders keep blowing up the landing pads,
well, and it just
you can only bring so many guns with you.
Right. It keeps bringing me back to that idea of like the Wild West. There's many parallels can be drawn between the settlers, and there was a certain amount of like Belters could represent indigenous peoples who have been manipulated and or colonized, so to speak, and that's it looks like Illis can be a microcosm of that.
And that's what they do so brilliantly. It's like the UNN sends a bunch of scientists. They didn't even send enough thugs to like actually take over this planet. So then they try to like militarize the scientists. But remember when Prax went in and he's like, I've seen Western movies or whatever. And like, and when you cock the gun, everybody starts listening.
Yeah, everybody thinks
all the scientists are armed now and think that they're like the new military and they're trying to play this role that they've seen in action movies. I mean,
everybody's an action hero.
It's like their understanding of like the human mind on every level, in every character, it just is so hilarious and satisfying, and they do it so well. I can't wait.
There's a really close historical parallel. I mean, you guys know I'm from the East Coast, kind of. Maybe I'm from the South. I live in North Carolina. There is a very, very similar parallel to something that happened in our colonial history here, where before the 13 colonies or what have you broke away, got their own independence, there was a time between when the balance of power was between Great Britain and France, and they were fighting proxy wars with using the colonies and the native peoples here. So there was a time when, in a time of peace-ish, they had made a treaties and alliances, and everything was stable. There's a group of people from the western part of this who traveled over the mountains, which was the barrier. And it was like, you are not supposed to go beyond the Appalachian Mountains whatsoever.
Highlanders?
They were, there were a lot of miners from Cornwall who were brought in to exploit the resources, but they were called the Over Mountain Men. And they were the first white people, I guess, across the mountains. They settled in the upper eastern area of Tennessee in the Watauga Valley, and they created their own independent state out in no man's land. And it was a big, big problem because it had violated all the treaties between France and Great Britain. They're not supposed to be there. It had violated the treaties that had been established with the native peoples. And then here they are. We're out here. We're mining. We're doing our thing.
What were France and England going to do from across the Atlantic Ocean?
Right, exactly.
This is what this series does.
It's like a little colony of Belters who just go across the Great Divide there and say, hey, we're setting up our own little place here.
Now,
So-
see, that is a brilliant historical analogy. I'm so glad you shared that with us. You have to read Outlander, by the way. You really do.
Oh, yeah.
They go into that, and it's amazing.
So if you ever get it, look up the Over Mountain Men. They played a really, really big part in our independence because they wanted to be brought back into the nation. And it was like Virginia and North Carolina were both like, I don't want them. You want them? I don't want them. I don't want them. But they sent troops, and they helped in the Revolutionary War as an independent nation from across the mountains. Yeah.
But that's something that the authors have actually drawn historical parallels to the American Revolution, in that space is time, and the amount of time it takes to cross a space really dictates whether or not you can actually enforce your rule of law there.
You can enforce your writ.
Yes. So if you're sending one ship out to Illis at the same time that you're sending other ships elsewhere, how much power does that one ship really have? They go there to settle with scientists and all the gear they need to build homes and set up a settlement. Yeah, but then half of their gear gets blown up and they're stuck all the way out here, and who's really going to come save them? Sharla sends Holden, but he's not even 100% on their side, It's not like she sent warships. She sent Holden and crew
right,
to mediate, to try to make things work.
About as neutral a party as you could get.
But, I mean, he's going to have a soft spot for the Belters that were there first, that set up a settlement, that have families, and Basia and his kids, and...
Yeah, the colonists have built.
And Mercury is nothing. Dick. I mean, Mercury is
but you're also redemption for him. You're not wrong though, Courtney. The idea of your empire can only extend as far as your infrastructure will allow it to. Yes. I mean, the Romans did it, but they had to dominate the sea trade, and they're also famous for their roads. Mm-hmm. So they went a long way.
Military. They didn't dispatch nerdy scientists and settlers.
Right.
That's later.
The reason why the Mongol Empire didn't last very long. It lasted a couple of generations and it was gone because they didn't have the infrastructure and the military force to project their will at a distance.
England were amazing imperialists, but did they still own England? I mean, India, do they really still have any hold over Australia or Canada? They obviously lost the United States. I mean, you can send men out into the void, but if you can't enforce it, then what do you really have?
Yeah. So this is going to be about how do you set up a new government, and how are these people going to work together, because you've got all these different factors so far from home, working basically on their own with their own agenda, and the planet's trying to kill them. And they're just trying to survive. At the end of the day, they're just humans far from home. They're trying to survive one more day, one more week, one more hour.
Right.
At the end of the day, what is more important? The piece of paper that some guy, a billion miles away sent you, or the guy next to you that's bringing you a cup of water?
Yes. And I mean, overall, there are factions within the Belter settlers. So there are people
they're not a monolith.
Are militarists who do not want them there and are willing to, by any means necessary, get them out. And then there are other people who want to bring them soup and help them settle and be mentors to their children. And I see Petar's question. He already knows the answer to it, but his
Okay, well there you go.
But there was a comment that he said that I was really, now I need to find it. Oh, that he's neutral, that Holden is neutral, but he also is separate enough that they can throw him under the bus. And that is so valid because he's not a member of the UN.
Right. He
He's
doesn't
not
represent anyone.
He doesn't represent anyone. So Sharla can send him out there and say, like, do what you can. But if she doesn't agree with what he does, she can still send the military force.
Mm-hmm.
But at least she's not sending the military force straight out. You know, like, she's sending a negotiator.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Speaking
Courtney,
of military force.
Actually, I just got one question for Courtney. Think we
Okay.
can make 2 hours?
At this point, I guess we can. I was nervous earlier. I'll admit it to the chat. Like,
one of the things that I have come to find out is that if you think you've got an hour's worth of content and you're talking with people, you've got 2 hours worth of content. Take it from somebody that does panels at cons.
Trailers and some excitement.
Yeah, but we have people
and
who are
you told me I couldn't talk about the books for most of it, so I was sitting there like.
Yeah, but like, I'm so glad you had the chance to just go off like you have too, because it's good stuff. It's good stuff, and the chat's enjoying it. You know.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
as Jess says, I love
Jess is my new BFF because she loves my books.
Right. She was commenting about having shelf envy earlier.
Okay.
I don't know. Actually, that's when. Yeah, I'm just reading Tadar's later.
I mean, all of our characters that we care about, they're out there, but like, you know, only so many can actually physically be on this planet. And I think that season 4 is going to be grounded for the most part on this planet, and it's going to be fascinating. So
it's going to be a different look for the show for sure, to just have, you know, exterior shots
which will make it natural that the transition won't feel so forced. You know, it's not like they're trying to recreate people's homes and the same streets in the same neighborhood, even though they did retain the sets. That's great. But like, there will be new sets. They'll be able to be creative in new environments. And that's what I'm so excited for.
Well, they can't, Bill. Yeah, to answer your question.
Bill.
They can't.
Naomi is not gonna want to get off of the ship. Like, she's not gonna want to walk out on that planet with gravity. It's gonna be hard
to survive there, because there is the drugs and the medication that you can take to strengthen your bones, to help build your muscles. If you do the exercise regimens like the Martians will do when they're training in 1G.
But that's like the military. They train like that. Naomi's not really willing to.
No, because that grounds you there on the planet too. You've taken these drugs, but they also give these type of medications to the children that are on the stations, so that their bones develop properly.
Right, but we see a
not everyone gets.
Not everyone gets good stuff. I mean, but it can be done. And the children that are born there are going to be born in whatever is like 1. It's a little bit more than 1G, I think, on that planet. It's a little heavy, just a little bit, but enough that even like Earth people are going to notice it. And it's just going to like.
It takes inner strength, and it takes conviction. It takes work. You know, you got to like work those muscles and practice.
And that speaks to how tenacious these belters are. It's like they've come from a place of 1/3 G to 2G, and they're like, okay, this is our home. We're going to do whatever we have to do to stay here. We're going to build our little houses with our own hands, and
yes,
and dig.
And what do those look like as opposed to the ones that are brought, like the prefab structures from the UNN? And
build a colony in a box.
Belter ingenuity is a theme that resonates throughout the seasons. And
who do you want colonizing planets? People who know how to think outside the box, to survive and different things to survive. Or are you gonna want people who, I've got to order this online and it'll be here in X number of months? And until then, we're just gonna have to like suffer.
Right, but it takes months. Like, yes, you can resupply, but what amount of time is that going to take? What is that?
What do you do in the meantime?
Who is going to supply it? Who are you going to get to bring you the supplies you need? You know, it's
nobody. Nobody.
That's the right answer. Nobody is. The
Yeah,
same as like the people who first crossed the Atlantic to come to North America from Europe.
How
Like
long did
they,
it take the Lost Colony to get resupplied, Stephen?
And I love that
I
you
don't
guys
know.
are drawing those parallels
Too
because that's
long.
something that the authors
took
looked
too long.
into.
right, because like
Political
they had to
thinking.
bring literally everything with them because when they didn't know when they got here what they were going to need, so they brought
Yeah,
everything.
you're traveling on a ship. How much can you bring
much
with
can you
you?
bring?
Think about when you're flying, you get one suitcase, you know. It's mind-boggling. And
It's like, what are you going to fit in the wagon to go across the planet?
yes, and it gets just more fun. Like, and the fact that these authors and producers, whatever, directors, like, are actually taking these things into account. They're making the complications of living in space a reality is something that they intentionally did differently than other sci-fi shows they've seen. And where everything just seems to evolve naturally. They are making those complications part of the challenge, part of the plot that these characters are struggling with. And it makes it so real to me.
Pedar, I literally had that question myself. Can the soil on a new planet grow stuff, or do you need to bring your own dirt? Yeah. And that's legit. Because, and again, I said something earlier about the, left-handed, right-handed chemistry. If the dirt has the wrong-handedness of molecules in it, yeah.
You are 100% on the money with that, Stephen. I'm just going to tell you that.
Scientists are testing every day, trying to figure it out.
And yes, you would probably have to bring your own soil because you're having to create the nutrients in the soil that the plants that you bring with you have got to have to survive, or you're going to have to set up some type of hydroponic
system. Everything is so specific. And, even like Mars can get away with stuff because they're within our solar system and they're similar.
They've got the same base chemical structure.
Construct.
Similar chemistry.
Yeah, you go to an entirely different planet.
I mean, that's a lot of compost.
The entire tree of biology is different. And I know Pedar knows this because in the latest novella, he actually brought it up that they really go into that. And it's fascinating to me. I mean, I'm nerdy like that. So, the fact that organisms evolve very differently on our planet than they do on this other planet. And that... Yeah. I mean, just like you said,
as simple as
a mosquito could bite you and die, and you could feed a duck bread and it could die. And
or is an organism salt tolerant or not?
Right.
Because what is the human body made up of? Mostly, it's 90% of saline. We're just a bunch of fluid sacs running around. Are we?
Well, I kind of think about it like. Some people have a peanut allergy, imagine that like the entirety of humanity had a peanut allergy. We'd be trying to eradicate those plants off the planet. But yeah, it's a violent reaction that kills people.
I will say that Illis is better than most. And there is something that I really, really want to bring up, but I don't even want to spoil you guys, but there's something to do with the rain. Just think about microorganisms. Like there is water, there is rain, but I want to tell you so badly. I want to tell you so badly. I don't want to kill it because I think it's going to be a major plot point. I think it's important enough that it will come up in the show, and I don't want to.
It may. I mean, we see this big storm or this big wave of destruction that blows out the windows and.
I assume that was prototype.
Think about like a microorganism in a raindrop.
It's something. It's something. A lot of destructive force.
Anyway, yeah. I don't
I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm going to stop you there because, you've tantalized
me. I know
you're
not, John. You're being very tolerant of my spoilers, but I don't want to ruin things that I think will be major plot points.
Right. I appreciate that. I do.
Yeah, but one of the biologists on the planet does, Stephen, is
Elvie, we're gonna love her.
Chiron and right Chiron and
Chiral.
Chiral. Yeah, I failed my organic chemistry. Excuse
me.
No, I didn't. I made a D. So, but it is Chiron.
You're a nurse. I hope you did all right, at least on some level.
Right? I didn't even take organic chemistry, but I did take honors quantum physics in college.
See, there you go. Quantum physics. Courtney, we're going to give a class on quantum mechanics someday.
I would love that.
Not teaching the math, but I will teach you the concept.
But yes, if there's a if that is a carbon-based life there's only so many ways that it is going to bond, and one is to the left and one is to the right. So if it's I think if it's right chiral, that is compatible with earth biology, most of earth biology, and left chiral would be the oddballs that may or may not be left over from some other evolutionary path that did not prosper here for whatever reason. But
and
right chiral was what was
nerds in the chat right now.
Yeah,
like lady,
love for the science.
So with me.
But that is a huge factor in some of the plots. Is that very
I'm here for it. I'm
that
here for
very
it.
thing.
Where did you find all these nerds, Stephen?
I'm just lucky, I guess.
We know them. We know these nerds.
Uh-oh, we lost Courtney for a second.
I know that nerd on me. Now we need to do one on Lady Leaf. We need to do one on Peter.
Hey, man, with the new year coming, and changes they be on the horizon.
I can't wait for this one. That's going to be killer.
Yeah. So, that having been said, guys, we've been going for about 2 hours. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Courtney, have you gotten it out of your system?
Everything that I've needed to gush about. There are several things I could still tell you, but I don't want to ruin it for anyone.
Right.
Like, I really want you to just enjoy. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super hyped for it. Again, it's like I'm watching a few different shows right now, and The Expanse is the one that I'm most excited to pick back up with.
Wait.
Like, I'm going to have to watch The Mandalorian Friday morning really early so I could just get it out of the way, tweet about how cute Baby Yoda is, and then dive in. You know what I mean?
Baby possum, Stephen. Did you see the picture I tweeted out about the baby possum?
Yes. I hate possums, though. Freaking tree rats.
baby possum is so cute. It looks just like Baby Yoda. It does. You have that within a blanket. It looks just like a Baby Yoda.
I hate possums.
He won't have any trouble holding his glasses up. That's for sure.
But yeah, so I'm done. Courtney got it. You got it, and man, you were a true like rock star and holding it for the end. I appreciate it.
I tried.
I thought you were hard.
Painter knows how much I had to actually hold it in. And Lady Leaf, he found me in Westeros too. That's where all the real nerds are.
Yeah. In Twitteros?
Twitteros and Westeros. Yeah.
There you go. So, guys, I guess that's it then. Season 4, again, comes out on December 13th. We're going to, on December the 15th, which is that Sunday, I'll be streaming at my normal time, but we'll be covering I think the suggestion that I liked was 3 episodes at a time, 3, and then for the last one we have the finale plus the season recap.
Yeah, that's a good structure.
Yeah, your mom came up with the best system ever.
Well, surprise! My mom is like an organizer,
seriously,
like, extraordinaire.
That woman is
plans
amazing on so many levels. She was giving life advice in the chat. Like, seriously, she's
muted right now because she didn't want any of the spoiler talk. But you know, it is what it is.
You can tell she already knows. I think she's a gem.
Yeah, she's all right for a white lady. All right, I've probably overstepped my bounds with that one, y'all. Thanks for coming by. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Again, Kraken Tacos, contact me so I can send you your prize that you won. Join me Thursday for my birthday stream, where I will be revealing changes coming about the channel. Join me next Sunday for an I Know That Nerd with Aziz from History of Westeros. And then the week after that, we will be talking about the first 3 episodes of The Expanse Season 4. And I am so excited. I can't hardly wait.
I'm just vibrating with excitement.
Yep. And we will try to have everyone back and see you in 2 weeks, folks. So until then, peace and be excellent to each other. Bye.
Bye, guys.